Okay. Hi, hi, hi. I'm back. Let's see if this works. Chat. No chat. Now, where are the chats? What's going on? Hmm. Okay. See, this time. Okay. I can't see the chats. So, okay, there you are. There's nobody saying anything. All right, so let's see. Yay, I am back. Hmm. And what I was gonna do, because my vision is not as clear, um, reading the tiny print on the screen, I was gonna try to set it up so that I could watch myself over here and see, hopefully see you. Um, but I think I can read from here. I won't bother. So yes, hello everybody. So let's see who's here. The okay. So Raylene and Kathleen and Nina. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Renata. Hi. Um, Kathleen from Texas. Welcome. Thanks for hanging in there. And let's see. Hi. Justine. Okay. I didn't know that was your name. Hi, Kim. Okay, so I see some more people. Okay. Oh, Barry from New Zealand. Hi, Barry. It's nice to meet somebody else with the name I almost got, the spelling I almost got. Hi, Don. Okay, and Justine, you're in California. Okay, great. Hi, Manisha. Thank you. I'm glad to finally. Hi, Rosalinda from Australia and Catherine from Alaska. Wow, so we're really coming from different parts of the planet. That's really awesome. Um, hmm. So portrait mode makes. Let me see how this thing can. I think the angels have been waiting for me to do this as well. Um, Hi, Nina. Peace and blessings to you as well. Wow. So I feel like we need to to ground and just connect in for a moment. And this first one, I really just wanted to say hello so that everybody could kind of get to say hello to me and I to you. Hi, Cooper. And so I'm really excited about this. I'm sorry about how the camera thing went. I was hoping to not be in portrait mode, but be in landscape, and I'll have to figure that out. It worked on a trial that I did where you don't go public, but you just do it unlisted, and it was fine. It went right into landscape, and I kept pushing, it didn't work. So yeah. So let's see, King. All right. Hello, Lando. I think it says. All right. So I did get some people's questions, things that they wanted to. I can only see your eyes. Really? So what you're seeing, what I'm seeing in the screen is not what you're seeing. Um, Let me see. Raylene, did you mean that you can only see my eyes? Oh, okay, no. So you can see me from here up. Okay. Oh, somebody says if you close the chat, you can see his whole face. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I do have a lot of, as I just saw somebody say, I have a lot, yeah, I have a lot of cards. Okay. But you don't see below my eyes, Raylene? Do you see below my eyes? Hi, Lula. Well, I just got in too because we had trouble with the the video, the camera turning it one way, portrait mode. I was had it in landscape and it went in portrait mode. We just see your head. Really? What what do you see? Okay, do you see all of me now or capture button? Choose the broadcast mode. Whoa. Open the YouTube live stream. Tap the capture button. Oh, oh wow. Okay. Hi, Venice Brown. Um, is that something I can do now without losing the chat? I see you fine till elbows. Okay, yeah. Huh. Okay. I saw somebody said maybe remove the chat, or just sort of push it off to the side, or and maybe you all can see me. I kind of need to see the chats so that I can see you. Okay, Venice, if you could send that to me in a message to the Angel School at AOL.com, what you said, and that way I can read that and make sure I do that. I followed all the steps that they told me to. I watched, but something went wrong. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Great. Hi, Terry. How are you? Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you finished it. Okay. All right. So let me take a moment and because I want to get into some of the questions that people had written me. And this is, I'm not necessarily doing readings on this first one out. But what I wanted to do was just talk and sort of give you all an opportunity to um, sort of ask questions about spiritual practice or some of the things that I've mentioned in the videos, although I may not remember them because I say them and I hear them for the first time myself. And I know some people ask me some questions about the decks I'm using, about you know, me using decks that were commissioned or by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Things like this is sort of I wanted to just sort of connect with everyone about and we'll just take it from there. We'll just see where we're guided tonight. So if there are any questions that anybody has to start, why don't we just all take a deep breath together and kind of close our eyes and really center in our heart space and just allow the light within your soul to really just illuminate and really feel the earth beneath your feet. You can even really connect into your earth star chakra, which for some you may see it as black and white, or you may see it as gray or silver. But just see this ball, whichever color comes to you. I kind of think of the silver as almost like hematite, the crystal. and just see and feel. Just put your feet flat on the floor and just feel this, or see or sense, however you connect, this orb of light glowing beneath your feet, about 6 to 12 inches, and just see it expanding all the way out. And we can call upon Archangel Sandalphon to touch and light up this Earth Star chakra for you. And just sense or feel the amazing energy that is starting to flow beneath your feet. And feel this energy sort of rising up through your other chakras, and especially in your heart center. And feel this pink light just glowing from your heart chakra. And let it be just sent out in all directions of time. Feel your ground in connection to Mother Earth. And now just feel your angels wrapping around you. Your angels are writing the word happy. They're just so happy for you to experience them and to feel their presence, to feel the love that they have for you. And feel this love, this beautiful pink gold light with white in the center, just enveloping you. And feel the energy from the earth rising up through your chakras, going up into your third eye. And I'm feeling like some of you are really needing some clarity. And so your third eye is that chakra where you can kind of get clarity. It's interesting. It kind of saw like a wolf. And so this kind of reminds me, but it was a white wolf. So this kind of reminds me of the animals that are white are ascension animals. And so this is kind of giving me a sense of you really needing to feel more independent and at the same time very supported by loved ones and by your tribe. So, wolves kind of sort of work in packs, but they're also very independent as well. So, but when I think about this, I was thinking about the moon card, and there's been an emotional time, and so a lot of emotions, a lot of things sort of floating around, and so this is also where you may need some clarity from your higher self to really see more clearly, so that you're not allowing, there's more balance being brought to you emotionally. And a lot of this seems to be around the right number, angel number 99, which is about getting to work on your life purpose. So it seems like this has to do with your life purpose and you needing clarity about that. And you're going through a purge, so just of some sort, in which you are really needing to get more direction. It feels like, because since the moon card keeps coming up to me with this white wolf, it just seems like things keep coming up. Things, some emotional situations are triggered and you keep getting distracted. It's almost like you feel really good. You get this really clear, crystal clear idea, and then all of a sudden it's like something comes in and it just saps all the energy out of you again, and you kind of lose that sense of purpose. You lose that connection, and it's like your enthusiasm just is fleeting, kind of just woof, it's like you're gone with the wind, so to speak. And so they're coming in right now to really help you. So Archangel Raphael is the archangel that helps with clearing your third eye. And so we're working with the fifth dimensional ascendant chakras. So see this as like a crystal ball, a clear crystal ball, your third eye, with some tinges of emerald green light. And as you call in Archangel Raphael, and he's writing the word learn. So there's some lessons you're learning right now. And the third eye in Archangel Raphael also helps with abundance. And so you're learning some lessons about abundance. And it's almost like you're struggling with that abundance. You prayed for it, you're asking for it, you know where you're going, you know where you want to go, but you're struggling with letting go of those the past, where you had your doubts and you didn't really believe that you could achieve the things that you say you're going to set out to do. And so there is this part of you now that is really ready to let in this light. And so as Archangel Raphael is working with your third eye and flooding it with emerald green light and bringing in that abundance consciousness, he's going to connect you to the planet Jupiter and the ascendant aspect of that planet to connect you with that ascendant um, awareness of abundance and a realignment. And it's like you're saying a new chapter is unfolding for you in your life. And they wrote the word capture, but I feel like captures and take a snapshot. It's like you're starting to get snapshots of these new possibilities. And the thing is not be afraid of them. They write the word could, like you keep saying, like I wish I could. I wish I could do this. I wish I could. Do you hear that? What that sounds like? I wish I could. It's not saying I am going to. It's not the same thing. You're not saying I'm going to be able to do this. You're saying I wish I could, as if only, if only, if only I had this. So that means what's getting in your way is the consciousness of lack. And I know somebody had sent me a question about, you know, what's going on with their finances and things like this, and how to heal that. And it's lack. Now, that's not a big answer, especially when your ego doesn't want you to hear that answer. And the clarity around that. So you're gonna have to. So the first thing is I really don't want anyone here to think that you got work to do. It's not about work. It's about embracing who you really are, embracing what's there for you. So this piece of lack, I wish I could, I wish I could, I wish I could. This is a train of thought that it's a pattern that you have to just be aware that you are thinking this way. And when I kind of sort of feel that or sense that, it's the total opposite of, and I don't want this to come across as judgmental, is taking action. I just wish I could. Because the thing about it is, in that train of thought, you keep finding other things that you wish you could. You could the list will just go on and on and on, and there's no end to this feeling, right? So this is not the feeling that you want. This is not the feeling that you're trying to activate. This is the your ego. This is a way of sabotaging yourself, calling it caution, being practical. You know, it's all under the guise of these things that we think that we are, you know, playing it safe, being rational. And so if you're ready to let that go, here's Archangel Raphael saying, okay, here's what you're saying inside. This is what's creating your belief about every time you want to do something or every time an idea comes to you. You're throwing in that doubt with that phrase, I wish I could. And so what you really have to do is allow yourself to take a step towards it. And usually it's like we're thinking like we need too much. It's like, it's like you're stacking up too many walls in front of you. Let me see if somebody says, when I talk about doing this, it's told me to come back to earth. Explain that a little bit more. The last comment I just saw that I read out. I wish the comments could stay there so that I could see them, because I don't really need to see myself. But let's see if I can. No, maybe there's a. Oh, let's see. When I talk about doing this, back to earth. Okay. So Raylene, yeah, what did you mean by that? If you got time to explain it. So yeah. So what I've really been getting lately is that we're in a time where we're opening up, and we're opening up. I want to feel like it's saying that the universe is opening up opportunities to you. You're opening up to opportunities, but the universe is opening up opportunities for you as well. It's doing it to you. Um, you know, we the several weeks ago, um, they're helping to clear, like I want to say, just the energy that is sort of keeping us stuck, like just these beliefs. They're helping to kind of clear that for us, and letting that go. Doing the things I love, teaching. Okay. I'm usually quick on catching things, understanding. But you said like you feel like you want to come back to earth when you do the things that you love. So why is that not a good thing? Or am I misinterpreting what you mean by that? Um, if you can kind of help me understand why you were saying that. Maybe you were just letting me know something, but I've kind of missed. I think I missed something, or I may be reading too much into it. Um, so yeah, so all right. So why don't we just sort of take a look at some of the questions. Steve, hi Steve. I get a kick out of people who say they when they think they understand. Oh, I wish I could somehow read the rest of that. They when they think they understand, they are we. Hmm. Okay. So, um, yeah. So let me just see if I can find the live chat, because the chats just keep fading in and out, and so I'm having a trouble Oh, you want to teach the love of self. And there's nothing that is holding you back from doing that. Trust me. Probably, Steve. Um, I kind of prefer if you would just, if you know, so that if I can be of help, to just be a little more clear. Um, as I tend to get a little can't. Yes, we are. Yeah, absolutely, Steve. So yeah, Nina. Okay, yeah. Do we all have a guardian angel? Yes, we do. We all have a guardian angel. Um, that is everybody without exception. We have a team of angels actually, and usually we have two guardian angels at the very least. One is a little bit more sort of a yin yang kind of quality. One is a little bit more um, talkative, and the other one than the other. But the way to really connect in with your guardian angels is when you just feel yourself surrounded in gold light. So you can kind of right now just see your energy, your aura filling up with gold light, and it's interesting because they showed me like what is the women they call it a corset or something, but the corset was like in a heart shape. So um, for me, a bra, things like this is about nurturing and that kind of thing is something to sort of hold things in, sort of a protection. So I feel like they're saying that they protect you with their love, with their healing love. I feel personally, Raylene, I feel like my body vibrates. So I feel the vibration of the angels more than anything. And sometimes I'll see wings, and sometimes I'll see, or they'll write their names. So for me, um, I I connect trying to read the things that are a little distracting. So sorry, but don't feel that you have to stop. But for me, when I connect to the angels, I feel like a battery, and that's why I always start with my Earth Star chakra, and then work up and just sort of get into that state of consciousness, and it feels like a battery, just kind of charging through me. It's very smooth. It's consistent. It's just energy. It is what I feel like when I connect to the angels or source consciousness. I always feel like any of the beings. It feels like a vibration of energy flowing through me and around me. And I feel that this is the same. So different people connect. Some people may feel warmth. Sometimes I see colors. Yeah. And let's see, Catherine, I just have to tell you that your reading this morning about what happened in August was exactly what happened to me. Oh, okay. That's good to hear. Because I have to tell you, like, I was like, what's going on? you know, um, as things come through, the way that I get messages from the angels is that I see drawings, not in color, and and they're symbolic in their meaning. So you probably hear me say some things like when I see a tree or I see this, and then I see words, and sometimes the words are symbolic in their meaning. Um, like for instance, just as an example, the word gay doesn't necessarily mean that that's someone's sexuality, although it could be, but a lot of times it means that the client needs to come out spiritually, that they need to acknowledge or be their authentic self, to align with their soul. So words get used like that, or they get used as a start of an idea that I'm to talk about, or sometimes they fill in, like, I don't usually see a whole sentence, but the words will keep coming as if um, a sentence is being given to me. Let's see. So, yeah, I was trying to just go over here to see if I could find my channel, just so that I could keep reading your messages here. So give me just one moment to do that. Let's see how I can do this. Do I go? This is going to be an interesting thing. Wondering if I can find my own channel. Oh, it does it right here. Good. The first thing that comes up. So I'm going to, and I'm going to, this way I can see the chat. Okay, great. Because they'll stay better here, and I can catch them. Okay, so Rosalinda, so this is, I guess, what I was talking about. I guess I'm answering your question now. So, so she asked me about my practice. She says it always like I'm talking. Okay, talking to her. Yeah, everybody writes me about that, and whew, it kind of feels a little crazy. Hold on, let me cut the sound off on my the video over here because it's like an echo of me, right? So what I do is a, I mean, everybody's process is different, and I'm going to call mine weird. Um, but I always start off with, you know, by meditating with my chakras. I connect to with start with my Earth Star chakra, and I work my way up through the 12 fifth dimensional chakras, which is your Earth Star chakra, base chakra, um, and I got this meditation from um, some workshops I've done with Dinah Cooper. So just to let everybody know that, and so I go through the different chakras. Sometimes um, an angel or an ascended master um, or a particular dragon. I've been working with those for, yeah, I love her too. I've been working with the dragon, her dragon cards, which I think I may have said it in a video a long time ago, is has created the most shifts for me in working with the dragons. Traveling the dimensions and connecting in with the higher dimensions. And so after I do that whole meditation process, which I will just say for another time that we talk, if I want to talk about, if you guys really want me to talk about this more as an entire um, live chat, then I'll do that. So after I do that, what I had this sense of some years ago, I was walking out in the park, and I was sort of meditating, walking fast and meditating at the same time. I was like, I don't know how I did it, but I kept my breath very calm, and I was noticing that as I was walking, I could see in between the trees like a grid, okay, and it's sort of like a fence or like the helix, like the DNA. I noticed this on the surface of the river. I saw it like almost like clear in between the trees. And I looked at my skin. If you really look at your skin very closely, you can see a similar pattern. So I was noticing it everywhere, and so I call this the grid. And so what I do before reading, I ask for a source. After I do my meditation part, I ask source to overlight the reading, and I ask the fire dragons and the deep blue dragons to clear my space. I sage, all that before, and um, and then I call up an energy grid for, let's say, the date of the week. So like when I do the weekly readings, after I invoke source to overlight the reading, I call up the energy grid for the week of, let's say, November 11th through the 17th, 2019. And I, try to visualize it written out in front of me, and then I feel the energy of that come up. So I started working with grids, yeah, like the Matrix, yeah. And so then I call up the energy grid. If I'm working with a client, I'll then call up the energy grid of the client's I am presence, higher self soul, and your physical, spiritual essence, um, of, of the multifaceted, multidimensional aspect of you. Um, the soul personality. And then I call up your ascension God team, I like to call it, of unconditional love. And for each of these, um, sort of information comes up. But more importantly, um, I just feel myself connecting to all that information. Um, oh, okay, you say, Raylan, you see a gold net. Yeah. And so I feel like I feel like this is technology. Like this is something I really want to um, write about at some point. I just feel like ever since I feel like there's a spiritual technology, and that the grid is part of that, and that each of us has a grid. Each subject, a topic of our life, there's a grid. I feel like you can call up a grid on your finances. That you can call up a grid. I call up the grid for a reading. Um, Someone's reading, or you can call up a grid on your love life. The thing about it is, what I think is really important is to be open to what the angels want to speak to you about. And that information may not come in the way that you expect it. It may not be words, it may be symbols. Like I didn't like when I first started, because I kept getting these symbols. And guess what the first one was? The letter T. It's like, what is it? But I knew what it meant for some reason. I knew it meant trust. And this kept coming until such time that I learned to trust what I was seeing and to stop going poo poo because I didn't like it. I thought it was supposed to be like something on TV, the running movies, which some people do have. But this is no less cool. And I thought it was not cool. I was just like, what did you give me these for, Um, but once they kept coming, like, tree, or, if I see a naked behind, or there's all kinds of things I've seen, the pyramid, I see a witch for spiritual empowerment, that this person is spiritually powerful. Um, or, but the thing is, they change depending on the context of the energy that I'm talking to, meaning they have that general meaning, and then they can become, it's like a conversation. It's an expanded conversation. And once I got used to the symbols, reading it with the symbols and responding to what, whether they're words or drawings, then it became a language that I communicate. So, Raylene, you're writing colors. What about the colors? I may have missed that. So, um, yeah. So let me see. Maybe I have to go over here. So the visions, yeah, yeah. Well, like a pencil drawing. They yes, and then they can move. They can move. Like other things will come on them. It to me it almost looks like looking at the old photograph. The oh my God, words always escape me. That's one of my biggest problems. Because vibration is, to me, is just so much more. uh, detailed, but you can't really find specific words. But this is something I should know. This is not that kind of excuse. I'll talk about that another point. But like the films, the what do they call them? The negatives. So I kind of see like I'm looking at negatives, um, and sometimes they're I call them like drawings, but they do look and feel like more like a negative because they they sometimes move and sometimes they're still. So there's sometimes they're movies, but they're sometimes they're still, but they're still negatives. They don't have color. I can perceive the color. Um, I also see what many people may call scrying with my eyes open. I mainly see those things with my eyes closed. So, um, but on the on a wall, I'll never forget. A long time ago, I was looking when I was having connections with the fairies, and so like I just started to remember. Boy, I'm gonna sound like I'm crazy. So I hope you all are having some crazy moments too. But one time I looked at the wall and it's like scrying, and then all of a sudden the wall will not be in color, will not change into color. It'll be what it is, the color, whatever it is. But it all of a sudden will become these figures or a landscape. So there was this fairy, a little leprechaun, and he literally opened up um, his world where he lived in this forest, and there was a home, one home in this deep forest, and this it's like a circular clearing of space, and that was really cool. So it's interesting, but it was like the wall could almost just sort of open up, or the lower half of the wall, actually, because he wasn't tall, just opened up into this vortex of where his realm, where he lived. So it's that kind of thing. Um, so protecting myself, I don't do that anymore. But I'm going to tell you why. So when I ask Source to overlight me, God, I consider it done. Okay, I don't feel that I'm begging for for God's protection. I don't consider that I would even attract a negative spirit towards me. I don't give this any consideration. And I was someone coming from my, background as a Christian. Um, like I grew up with horror movies. I didn't like them. I still can't watch them. So I went through a whole lot of different traditions before I ended up here. Between my Christianity and this, I explored a lot of different other things, and in those things, people believed, in the evil and all this stuff, and blah 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 blah. And so I realized at one time, and you've heard me probably say this on a video, that your soul is not hackable. Your soul, for me, is on the main server, which is Source, which is God. So you have to give permission through your belief for someone else to have power over you. Now, just I often talk about this from my Christian background, but um, I always remember the story of Job, and every time Lucifer or Satan comes up in the stories of the Bible, he can only tempt. He can't literally like do it to them. He can tempt them. He does things. It's like he's like no more powerful than anybody else. And so with this, I say for those people who believe in the influence of anything, like because I don't. I see the influence, any influence outside of yourself, as something that you should be discerning about, not for whether or not it's evil or not, but you should be discerning about it just because you need to make sure that you're always being authentic, being yourself, and that you're always doing something because it's right for you. So this is about the extent that I would look at this term, or protection, or the idea behind it, is that you should always be discerning of any influence outside of yourself, other than that which is, because all else is not the relationship with you and God. And what I really believe the angels are here to, they are here to amplify that connection, that union, that alignment. They are not really here. So when I'm working with a client, this is the best way for me to say it. When I have clients, I tell them that this reading, the primary voice in this reading is your higher self. That the angels are here to facilitate that connection. They are holding the space. The angels hold the light, the light language, the vibe, that frequency of consciousness that allows us to feel the bliss and inspiration. That is the voice of God speaking to us. So I think that's what's really important about what you need to understand. So in truth, there's only this connection that's your only concern. All the other connections would have to persuade you. They would have to tempt you into believing what their point of view in order for you to take it on. Once you believe or give enough attention that you start to be persuaded or influenced by it, that's when you have given over your influence to something else outside of you. And so I don't think you should think of evil, you know. My grandmother used to say, or it was my mother, because my grandmother and I were, well, one of them would say, there's no use of being afraid of the dead, you know, it's the living. So I've got some reminders for Barry and Barry. Oh, there goes my Google. I should have unplugged that. Okay, next time. So, sorry. Uh, Sorry about that. I hope you're all still there. That was one of my alarms on my phone. But anyway, so yeah, so the thing is that non-physical is this enormous sea of love. It's infinite. And I know people worry about negative spirits. Again, you would have to give permission by focusing on that, by thinking. They would need permission. I just tend to not even go there with that kind of thing, because, you know, it's the same way in my life. If I perceive somebody who is not someone that I resonate with, I don't even try to think of people as being like a good or bad thing. Just as something I don't resonate with. They could be the kindest person, but we may not resonate in some way. It could be a person that I talk about things like this and they don't want to talk about stuff like this. They look at me like, get this weirdo away from me. So, you know, I don't try to get their approval, which would be giving my influence away. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if that helps, but your soul is not hackable. And that's really the truth. And so, because I've had clients who over the years had fears about negative things. I remember I had a client who had a stalker, and we had like several sessions about this. And what it really was is that the upbringing was such focused about evil and all these types of things that the thought, the underlying thought that was attracting, the point of attraction for this was not feeling safe. And so what my role was is what I feel like that one of my primary gifts is being able to talk, use words that are just vibration. So whatever words I'm using is to create a vibration. So I almost know the vibration I want to create from the moment you ask me a question like this, or the vibration that is the alignment that for you. And and so basically I talked her out of that vibration, and into another vibration, one where the focus was security. And then at some point, she just didn't notice the stalker anymore. It just wasn't there anymore. So I don't know if the stalker was literal for her. I think it was, but this is how it kind of worked. Let me see. I just saw something about, I don't know how far behind I am. Totally, okay, pigeon. Totally helps. I believe the same. Wonder what your response to Doreen Virtue's recent denunciation of the New Age as evil would be. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you, first of all, I know it was 8:04. So since I kind of got like a late start, I'll just kind of continue. Um, but also I'm very chatty, so but I know no one is gonna want to watch something like this if it's too long, coming back. But first of all, I want to talk about this. I don't tend to respond. So like when this thing with Doreen Virtue happened, I didn't respond to it. Like you may have seen some people write some things, comments. It doesn't happen very often, but negative comments, and I won't respond to it. It's not that I want to ignore the person. It's just that I don't want to challenge them, in their feelings or their fears, because you cannot speak to someone who is in that position. They are not open, and you don't have to listen, or you don't have to, again, give over yourself, give over that, give, allow that influence to, you know, um, sort of infiltrate you in your life. So now I'll be completely honest. Um, when she first said that, it struck a moment of fear in me. It took me back to my earliest days when I first sort of left, was sort of Christianity. So how do I say this? I can, you can't say that I've divorced myself of Christianity. That is not true. It is always going to be a part of me because it's how I grew up. However, I have grown to embrace many, many other things. And and so it brought me back to that first moment when doing anything outside of Christianity, or like I'm sure of anybody else's religion, um, you know, would put you in a make you a little fearful. Anytime you step outside of the box of your ego, because that's what it really is, right? It's the box of your ego. I always tell people that your ego is so tiny, it's like a speck inside of one of your pores. So therefore, that's the reason why the ego is afraid of everything. Every new opportunity that you want to give yourself, that your soul inspires you to know and understand and want to receive and move towards, your ego is going to be afraid of that. Wouldn't you? In the world of giants, I mean, the world of giants is the world of opportunities and possibilities. So that's why we're all afraid of change, whether it's the little death or the big death, you know? Um, so, and so, yeah, so it was frightening for a split moment. And then I said to myself, oh no, I'm not going back there again. I've been through all of that, and I've learned from all of that. And so I don't need to revisit whether or not what I'm doing is right or wrong. Number one, for me, I didn't even know anything about what I'm doing. Like there was no one else to tell me about it. I saw angel numbers in a dream before I had seen anything written about it. I wasn't even reading many things spiritual at the time when it happened. Um, you know, um, the angels came to me out of an experience, um, a health experience, and that was pretty much life threatening. And so that's when it happened when the angels came to me, and in that way. And of course, I've known about angels from my religious background, but it was the first time I physically saw them. And then it was like months later that I saw um, books of Doreen Virtue on all of these things that I already seen. So, my mother was a strict Christian, and in the sense that she definitely didn't go for all of this. Um, in the end, she did. But when I had to tell her, she's like, "You let people influence you." I said, "Nobody influenced me because I didn't even know anything. I was trying to find out what this stuff meant because it was happening to me." And every bit of this work came sort of happened to me before I saw it somewhere else. So, and what it's done for me, and um, in terms of my own personal healing and helping me to find peace with so many different things, and how it still does that for me, um, is just incredible. So what she, you know, I feel like for her, she's doing what she needed to do for herself. It was sad to lose a mentor um, in that way, um, but to be honest, no, I mean, it's everything that happens is for a reason, and I think she's helping us all to um, reaffirm, you know, who we truly want to be, who we truly are, because she was such a great influence in leading us. But we have to, now it comes down to us being strong enough to know who we are and what's right for us. Again, that discernment piece. I just saw another question about Doreen Virtue. So certain things are catching my eyes, and I'm just attributing it to, well, this is what the angels want me to see. Um, so let me see. Yeah, I agree, Nina. I still love her previous works. I still have all of her decks and her the Angel Tarot that I was just using. I think is brilliant. And she and Ratley did that together. Um, I think you may realize that a lot of Ratley is in those decks, the tarot decks that they did together. Um, Let me see. A famous Wright who made famous angel card decks that gave up. Okay. Yeah. So I think we have to understand that what we got from her was real when she was offering it, and now she's no longer offering that. But it doesn't it doesn't erase it. She may want that to be, but it's the effect is done. It's there. Um, I was going to say one of the things I remember. I don't. Well, here's one thing. If she ever saw this, but it's not to challenge her, but just to let her know how amazing and extraordinary her work was. I never remember. It was in 2005. It was the first time I encountered her in New York City, and I've been living in New York City since 1993, but I'm from Virginia, so I grew up being able to trust my neighbors and people. I know what that's like. I was born in 71, so I still know those good times when you weren't afraid, you know, to live wherever you lived, and you could have a door open. People had keys to your house, and you were fine. And when I after being in New York, you couldn't do those things, and so at that workshop, every person that was there, the majority of the people that were there were women, and there were some men, obviously, but it was the most happy, lightest bunch of people I've ever met in my life. The most loving. I mean, it was really angelic. But those people were already on this planet. We're all wherever we are. And the thing about it is that she had attracted a group of people that you could trust. And I didn't even speak to most of them. So you know what I did? Because it felt so good to be in this environment and so right to do it. And I needed to have that experience. I took out my wallet during the lunch break and I placed it on the chair on top of all of my materials because I knew that it was not going to be stolen. That day was the only day I have ever known or felt such a sense of trust in the universe and security that I was willing to risk the little bit of money I had left. And I left it there and I went out for the full length of the time and came back and my wallet had not been touched because that's the kind of people she attracted. And so there was no evil in that place. And I think that's the kindest thing I could say about the whole subject. So um, I think if you feel called to do what you're being led to do in this work, then you should do it. That you should not be swayed by anybody. And it's the one thing that my mother used to always say. So I'm going to talk because this is what we do in the South. My mom, my grandma. My mother, when she brought us up, she told us very early the truth about a lot of things. And she told us that the minister on that pulpit is just a man like you and I. He is not better than you. He is not holier than any of us. And so she would say, when you go, I go to church, and she would tell everybody, because some people get caught up in ministers, and you can see where I'm probably going with this. And she would say, you don't go to church to serve the minister, you go to church to serve the God. So you don't come here to serve me, to give me any, this is about God. You don't, same thing with Doreen. So that no matter who comes and goes, shifts, changes their mind, and does whatever, that you know where you belong. So that's what is really important. And I'm kind of sorry that I didn't speak about it, but it was a little crazy. And I thought the energy was in a really negative place, rightly so. But that's, I didn't, it's like, I couldn't think, for a while when it first happened. So it's like my mother's words come to me now, and that's what you have to remember in life. You do nothing for no one else. You People can inspire you, but they can't have power over you. That inspiration that you felt from her and was from God, not from her. So, if she felt like she did something wrong, that's on her because she did not do anything wrong. The only influence that can really, really um, inspire us is God. I can, you can say that I inspire you, but it's not me inspiring you. One of the things for me that I've always known as a part of who I am as a reader or whatever, as a spiritual teacher, is that I could have this same conversation right now with someone who does not connect with what I'm saying. And when they don't connect with what I'm saying, there are no words. Like my heart, so I always call what I do basically primarily channeling love. And I can't feel that when I'm not supposed to be talking to somebody. I can't feel that love, that open heart, because their heart opens and mine opens, and it's a channel of love. And I can't speak to them the conversation I just spoke to you today, or a client that I'm working with. I could have somebody call me in the next minute, and I won't be able to say those words, but I want to repeat it to them because it's not, our open hearts are not channeling that message of spirit. And so that's what I mean by no one can inspire you but God. So if you were inspired, if you've been inspired by me, it's because God, through you, through me, and facilitating through me, inspired you to hear what you wanted to and what you needed to hear. Doreen inspired me, but that was God that allowed me to be inspired. She was a catalyst. He used her for that inspiration, to be that channel of inspiration. So I firmly believe that the voice of God, if like you say, well, you're not going to hear God like talking to you like we hear a voice that you made, but it comes through the vibration of inspiration, love, um, peace, joy, bliss. These are the channels of the voice of God, and the angels and who who well, see, everything is a part of God. When we are, see, because this is how you get into this whole evil thing. That everything is a part of God. It's sort of like, what's the difference between the wave and the ocean? There isn't. One just appears as an individuation of the other, but it's still the same. But you say, but there are people who don't sound like God, or people who make you feel like you're not, you know, at peace. And that's a moment of tuning out, a moment of tuning out and disconnecting with that eternal bond. So we have free will to do this. Like we used to do to our parents. I don't want to hear it. We didn't get away with that too much in my family, but you can. So, God will love you even if you do this. But then you go through what you go through in that experience when you do this. And, it's not that we should be, say, oh, be afraid when we feel fear or when we feel sadness or whatever it is that comes up. But we should use it to help us to recognize that's what it feels like when you cut yourself off. And if you want those feelings to heal and to improve, then take your hands off your ears. And even when it's challenging, when, because I have to think about when we're kids, I remember my family, oh, at one moment everybody loves you, right? And then all of a sudden you do something and then they turn on you, right? They could be your cousins or whatever. And so you decide that at some point that you're just going to hold this, anger, because then they start to go, well, what's wrong? And then now you're feeling like the other kind of attention. And so you decide that you're just going to hold yourself there so you can get all the attention you want, make them feel bad. But then what ends up happening? You just feel bad because you're left out. You're left out from the community. And when we do this, we feel, that's why we feel the negative emotions, because we're left out of the community of oneness, of source, of God, whatever you call it. And so, and I was saying that because we do that, and like we know that something's not right, and we know we need to look at the situation differently. And it's okay to go through that process, but when you are really sick and tired of it, then allow yourself to start hearing how God perceives the situation, the clarity, which you and I may call sort of creating our own reality, as Steve said, taking responsibility. And sometimes we don't like to hear that, because we're probably all good at that. Or when we know we need, okay, I need to take responsibility. I need to, you know, I know that I create my own reality. So I know that holding myself in these thoughts is going to continue to create this. And so we try to change that. Because I'm a single mom and tonight is the only night I've had off in 2.5. I'm glad that you were able to, wow, to hear and be here, be present for it. Um, yes, so very, very interesting. So I see some of you guys are chatting there, and okay, so somebody just wrote my what I think is a soulmate says he respects my spiritual journey interest, but also strongly says he doesn't believe in it. Any advice on how to find out if he's a good choice to give my heart to? Hmm. That's got a few things in it. It's a little so this is something I said recently, and this is information that's come out of the readings, any of them. Um, I really am. I'm not gonna say I'm a spiritual dummy, but I feel that way because when I hear some of the things that come up during the readings, I'm like, I didn't know that. That's really cool. And I seem to only connect into this information when I connect with you. Um, but first of all, so like what I'm feeling about the first part of that, what you're saying is, well, you know, like you feel as though you need to think about this. So these kind of situations come up so that we can become clearer about ourselves. The card that I think of that represents what I'm trying to say the most is the King of Cups. Um, he is the person that's comfortable in his skin. He's the person who has mastery over his emotions, and he's not afraid of any of them. The good or the bad. He's not afraid of them. He sees them all as a part of the creative process. They are the creative tools. And so don't go looking for, don't get into a state of blame in your relationship. Looking for, I know you're not thinking this way, so don't take it this way, but this is what our ego does. It looks for to point fingers somewhere so that it can sabotage itself. So what I would say is that it's not about him and what he thinks about your journey. It's more about what do you feel and think about your journey. Where are you in your journey? Do you feel that you are becoming more and more of yourself every time you practice your spiritual, whatever your spiritual practice is? Um, and anyways, I found out if he's a good choice to give my heart or not. I think, and this is about, and I felt like it was a matter of trust. So it's like, should I give my heart to? And this is something that they've been saying recently, maybe came up in some readings, and I know the one I did for it that'll be published tomorrow. Trust is not for you, is not for another person. You're gonna always be disappointed if you focus on wanting to trust somebody else. I mean, trust, we can't even trust ourselves. We are constantly doubting ourselves more than trusting. If we were, we'd all be 100% fulfilled and happy because we would be aware of the guidance that we're feeling and hearing and sensing, and we would immediately respond to that guidance. But we don't. We doubt. And that's a part of the imperfection of being human. This is what makes our humanness perfect because it is imperfect. Years ago, the angel said to me, "It's in your imperfections that you are a perfection." Because if everything was perfect, we would have nothing to create here. There would be no reason to choose. So, when we see imperfections, they give us a moment of reflection to decide how we want to shape the world that is our reality. And so don't ever let it be about any relationship with anyone else. Don't let it be about whether or not you can trust them or not. Let this be about you learning to trust God, trust that connection. That's the trust. Because, see, when you trust that connection with God, or whatever you call it, then you are establishing an inner relationship with yourself of trust. You and I and everyone else around us, we're not going to be able to hold up that end of the bargain. You know, we're gonna waver. We're gonna doubt ourselves. That's a part of our process. That's a part of our growth. It's just gonna be there. But when you fight that, you cause yourself to be disappointed. And disappointment is really a chronic condition. It's a condition in which you have an expectation of a result, a very specific one, and you don't even consider all the other options that are out there. So we would be less disappointed if we were less focused on the specific outcome and be more open to the outcomes that are available when we arrive at that point. Because there are other things. It's like the Five of Cups, you have the three have spilt, cups have spilt over, and there are two behind him. He never looks at it. He's just like, oh my God, what happened? And that's what we do. Failure and disappointment, I'm going to say this, and this may be wrong, but it really doesn't exist. It exists because we are narrowly looking for something. But if we were understanding that the universe never brings you anywhere without giving you abundance, then you would understand the table will be prepared. And so instead of sitting down to the table and deciding, well, I wanted to sit in this one particular chair, I wanted to sit on the end, instead of being open to the entire feast, and maybe that chair in the end is already taken. But just because the chair is on the end doesn't make it better. Maybe the chair in the middle or somewhere else is even better. And you won't know that until you go sit in front of that chair, sit down to that feast. So if this makes sense, meaning broaden the scope of your look, what you're looking for. And so, yeah, for this question, I don't know if it's still there, if I can still see it. Don't expect him to be like you and vice versa. And expect that you're not going to be the same from the day you first met. I mean, this is something else I can go on forever and ever, and I know I got to cut this. But how can I explain this in a short amount of time? So I think one of the mistakes in relationships that we make is that we expect people to love us or to feel like the love on the first day. And that's not how it really is vibrationally, because change, the process of change, is causing each one of us to evolve. And what you can't expect someone to love you like the first moment they loved you. What you can expect them is to love you, or to be loved by them in a new way, because they will have changed and you would have changed, and so therefore your love together has changed. And so if you could wake up in the morning and say, good morning, and you were looking to see how they have changed, and looking to see how you have changed and how that love has changed, and you are looking to honor how that love has become, you would be better off. And as far as you will know, so if you feel like you're constantly um, having to struggle to be yourself in that relationship, then that would plainly tell you that either you both are not being open enough to each other, or that that this relationship has run its course, which is not a sad thing. If you were like this, what I'm saying, if you were always open to love unfolding, your love unfolding and never being the same, because everybody's hooked on it being the same. If you were really open to it unfolding, if it meant that your paths were to part, you would get that too. And you would be happy for one another. When you can't be happy for one another, it's because you're not really loving one another unconditionally. Yeah, some people need to be loved far, far away. Yeah, but whether it's together or not, you have to. If you really love somebody, you get it. You see that your love. You like if you're monitoring your own evolution and theirs, you will see that you have changed, and you don't want that same ness any longer. You want something different. I mean, we are creatures of change. The universe, everything changes. Everything about this three-dimensional world is about that change. And why do we want everything to be the same? Why do we want love to be like a photograph stuck in a time? Think about it. Um, okay. Yes. So everyone, Nina, thank you. So I think we should probably stop right here so that people will want to go back and watch it and not feel like they have to skip through or not. But let me see. Somebody just said, "Viva la five cards in all suits: the Tower, Temperance, Justice, and Death cards." Yeah. So I think what I'll do is like for the next one, I'll decide when we're gonna do it because I'm having fun, and I hope you are too. And what I'll do is I'll post and maybe um, put out some topics to see which ones we want to focus on, and and that way we can speak more specifically about um, a topic or two. So we'll see how this goes. So I just want to check in and see where everyone is. And please feel free to kind of leave comments here. Let me know um, what you liked and what you didn't like. Don't worry about my feelings, only because I just kind of want to get a sense of how this is flowing for you and how you feel it's being helpful to you. Um, my main reason is to really give us a sense of community, um, somewhere where we all feel like we have an opportunity to talk about this aspect of our lives and hopefully ways to bring it more into the foreground of our lives. Some of you are already doing that. So I thank you all for being here and showing up and for all your support and for everything that I've learned through doing this with you. I mean, I cannot say it enough. What I say to you is really coming from the collective of all of our higher selves. And so you are truly wise. I'm just the facilitator of that wisdom. And I know that because I say when I hear myself say something, I go, oh, okay, I like that, you know? So thank you very much. So I will see you again soon. I don't want to say when because I just don't know right off the hand, but maybe in a couple of weeks, in a few weeks, or definitely at the beginning of December, but maybe in a few weeks. This may end up being a weekly thing, but we'll see. Okay? All right. Thank you all. Have a good night. God bless you.